right, you can go ahead and be seated. Welcome to Crossroads, and man, to all you moms out there, happy Mother's Day to you. Yeah, you can give moms an applaud. Yeah, this is the day we show our love and our honor to moms. Hey, just a quick show of hands. How many of you have a mom? Just raise your hands. Moms, look around. This is how important you are. We literally would not be here if not for you. And so we love moms here at Crossroads. We're throwing a whole party on the patio today, so make sure to stop by and get your, I don't know what they're serving, mimosas or something. Anyways, you want to get it, all right? So make sure you're on your way out. If you're new with us, welcome. My name is Matt Manning. I'm the senior pastor here at Crossroads Church, and today we are in week 3 of a series that we're doing called Fact Check, where we are looking at truth and we're asking the question, is there truth, is there reality out there that we can build our lives upon? Like for most of us, we realize intrinsically that this world is full of deception, isn't it? From, conspiracy theories galore to, reports of fake news to the lies peddled on social media to cable news networks full of bias to satire sites. Like we just live in a world that is full of deception, and it leaves every single one of us wondering, like, is there a truth out there that we can build our lives upon? Is there reality out there that can really be like the bedrock, the foundation of our lives? And so the very premise of this series is that, yes, there is, that even though we live in a world that deceives, that even though we live in a world of deception, that there is absolute truth that we can grab a hold of and build our lives upon, And so in week 1 of this series, if you were here a couple of weeks ago, we started in week 1 and we asked the question, what is truth? It's a question that is really as old as time itself. And what we discovered is that when it comes to truth, that truth simply defined is just the proper representation of reality as it is. It is the faithful representation of reality as it is. That if you believe in a God, then that God alone has to be ultimate reality. That if there really is a God, then there's nothing before him. There's no other factor to form reality, that all reality is formed by him. So by the very nature of his being, he has determined and defined what is real, what is reality, what is truth for us. And then we got to week 2, and in week 2, we asked the question, who is God? Now, notice we didn't ask, is there a God? And the reason that we didn't ask, is there a God, is because statistically, about 80% of Americans believe that there is a God, a deity, a higher power, a force, if you will, that is present in this world. And so when it comes to our culture, the cultural question is not, is there a God, but who is that God? Can that God be knowable? Can we actually know who this God is? And at least the truth claims of the Bible say, absolutely you can. And when we walk into John chapter 8 and we see Jesus walk into this room, into this scene, and he delivers the statement that I am God in the most dramatic way possible for that culture, that is a game changer in the way that we understand truth and who God is. Today, as we gather together, we're going to talk about what does it mean to be human, or maybe classically, the question could be asked, who is man? Then in the final 3 weeks of this series, we're going to move through, like, what do our social structures ultimately reflect when it comes to truth? God cares, should I? And how must I be saved? Now, with each of those questions, we are building a framework, a foundation that we can build our lives upon when it comes to truth. Now, as we jump into and explore what it means to be human today, at the heart of our quest for truth really lies 2 fundamental questions, and those 2 fundamental questions are this: who is God and who is man? That these 2 questions really make up the baseline, the foundation of every worldview that there is. And to get these 2 questions wrong, or to misunderstand these 2 questions, leads to a place where your worldview is kind of skewed from the beginning. Let me give you an example. If we try to answer the second question, who is man, before rightly understanding the first question, who is God, then we walk a dangerous road when it comes to our worldview, because without rightly understanding who God is, we will be prone to elevate ourselves not only to a place that is higher than what is true, but we will also drown ourselves in a sea of self-centered speculation and ultimately lose who it is that we are. Such is the current crisis of our culture, isn't it? Like if I was to ask you the question, who are you? How would you answer that? Who are you? When it comes to our society, we have latched upon some finite identities as a whole. In answering this question, who are you? How do you find your true self? One might answer through, say, political aspirations or political affiliations. Perhaps the true you is your race or your ethnicity, your abilities, your socioeconomic status, your sexual identity, your job. Like what does it look like to find the true you? Where do you find the true you? And the worldview that is most prominent today in our culture whispers to every single one of our hearts, to every single one of our minds, that our identity, that the reality of who it is that we are is bound up in our skin color or our sexual identity or our social economic status or some other human earthly attribute that's out there. And in a worldview where random forces in which energy and matter come together and spit out a you, it's a place where you are nothing more than some random living being among trillions of random living nothings that arise like a blip and then die and pass into oblivion. And in that worldview, you cannot help but feel a very deep sense of insignificance, a void within your soul. And yet the reality is that each one of us know this. We feel it to the depths. That we know that we are more than just some random animated matter, aren't we? That we're more than that. That the human soul longs for what has been lost, and it chases desperately for something, anything to fill the ache of our souls. It's why this quest for truth, particularly when it comes to this question, who are you, is so important. And so today what I want to do is I want to begin to answer this question by setting the framework of this question, or of the answer to this question, from Genesis chapter 1. And so if you have a Bible, I want to encourage you to turn to the first page. That's where we're going to be today. If there is a God out there who is determining reality for us and what is true, and that God is knowable, then it only makes sense to go to that God who determines and defines the answer to this all-important question of who is it that we are. So I'm going to read from Genesis chapter 1, starting in verse 24. I'm going to read a long section of passage, and so just hang with me as we move through this. Verse 24, Moses writes, "And God said, 'Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, livestock and creeping things and beasts of the earth according to their kinds,' and it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth according to their kinds, and the livestock according to their kinds, and everything that creeps on the ground according to its kind, and God saw that it was good. Then God said, 'Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth.' So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him, male and female he created them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, 'Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth.' And God said, 'Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree with seeds in its fruit. You shall have them for food. And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the heavens, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has breath of life, I have given every green plant for food.' And so it was. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, and this was the sixth day." Now, there's a couple of things that I want to pull out of this passage for us as we answer this question, who are you? And the first is to acknowledge rightly is that we are created beings, that you are a created being, that we are not the creator, that we have been created, which is really good news. Let me just kind of take some weight off your shoulders. Let me just kind of free you for 2025. You are not the point. You're not. You are not the point. That I will argue with you until both of us are blue in the face that you are not the point. And the more that you make yourself the point, the more that you're going to jack your life up. The more you realize that you are not the point, the greater the opportunity you have to be free, like literally free. There is a creator, and you are not him. Listen, this means that we are somebody else's point. We are not the point. The second thing that I want you to see is that we have all been made unique, that we have been made unique in all of creation. In Genesis chapter 1 in the Hebrew, there's this rhythmic, poetic stanza to these verses here. It goes like this, and God said, and God said, and God said. And what was God saying? He was saying, let it be, let it be, let it be. That he was speaking creation into existence. Let it be that the sky be formed, right? And let birds fill the sky. Let the waters fill the earth and the fish fill those seas. Let it create the land, right? Let it be land. Let there be land and let there be cows on the lands. Let there be light and let there be night. That throughout all of Genesis chapter 1, there's this poetic rhythm of God said, let it be. And then in verse 26, there's this really hard turn, and God says, let us make. Not let it be, but let us make. And suddenly, within the passage, there's this break in the poetic rhythm that's going on here in order that we might be provided with some emphasis. Let us make. Now, when it comes to us, this let us phrase here, there's really kind of two schools of thought when it comes to understanding this. One of the schools is that God is speaking to this like divine council of spiritual beings. That you can think of this like, in the heavenlies, there's this like, I don't know, like Supreme Court, right? And on it is like the sons of man and angels and other spiritual beings. There's this divine council in heaven that God is speaking to, which I go, okay, maybe that's true. However, the more historical orthodox view is that the divine triune God of the universe is in dialogue with himself. And out of the gladness of his own existence, he says, let us make man in our image. And he creates male and female in his image, in what we come to know as the Imago Dei. Now, while structurally, it is true about humanity that we are created male and female, and particularly that's where we love to go when we start talking about identity in Genesis chapter 1, particularly because of kind of where we're at socially in our culture when it comes to sexual identity. But I actually think the structural part of this is of secondary importance. Now, please don't misunderstand me here. I think God creating us male and female is hugely important. I just think it's of secondary importance. That there's something greater going on here that oftentimes we just miss because we're flying through this passage. See, more importantly than the structure of us being created male and female is a functional reality of being made in the image of God. It means that we are different and of greater value than anything else in creation. Listen, you are more than just simply some living thing among trillions of random living nothings. That you are, in the words of the psalmist, fearfully and wonderfully made. That you've been given purpose and meaning. That you are created in the image of God. That you are valuable because you are in the Imago Dei. And we see the truthfulness of that through three kind of relational categories that we as humans possess that nothing else in all of creation possesses. I'm going to give them to you. The first one is this, is that we have a unique relationship with God. We have a unique relationship with God. So my alarm went off at 4:55 a.m. this morning, all right? And I am a pretty serious creature of habit in my life. My wife maybe would refer to me as anal, which is probably true, but I have my rhythms and I kind of like them, okay? And so on Friday, typically my rhythm, almost every Friday, is I get up early, I go to the gym at 6:15, I walk from the gym to King Soopers, I pick up a few things for the family, and then I walk to Doug's Diner on 136 in Colorado and I pick up a burrito and a Pepsi. That's my Friday morning routine. And so this Friday, something funny happened. I'm walking through the routine. I walk into Doug's Diner, and the server greets me there and says, hey, we already put in your order. We saw you walk past our diner this morning, and we know your rhythm, all right? Like, I got to tell you, I'm just a guy I have it. Like, I got my rhythms. I stick to them. Well, every Sunday that I preach, and this is true for the last 17 years, this is my routine, that I wake up early in the morning, I get ready, and then I spend a few minutes at my desk at kind of my home office just preparing for the day. And I kind of begin to prepare for the day by just contending with the Lord for my own soul. Like, I'm just contending with God for my own soul. Like I never want to be a preacher or pastor who's standing up here and preaching to you words that haven't first, impacted my life. Like I want to make sure, Matt Manning's affected. Like, these words matter to me before I ever dare preach them to you. And so I'm just waking up in the morning. I'm just contending with God on Sunday mornings for my own soul. And once I get past that, then I start contending just for our time together. And I start contending for you, and I know for some of you, you've walked in here this morning and you're going, God, this is your last chance, and if I can't see that you're real, we're done. That's serious. And for others of you, I can't imagine what it is that you experienced this week and the heartbreak that you're walking into this room with, and you just need some hope. And for others of you, I know that some of the words that we speak from the stage, that they have the potential to absolutely change the trajectory of your life. And for others, there's going to be some hard things in the sermon that you're going to hear that you're just going to have to wrestle with God. And so I just wake up on Sunday mornings and I just spend a few minutes just contending with God. I'm just wrestling with God, but I'm not alone. See, we just moved into this new house in the fall. And there's this beautiful male robin who has made its home in the blue spruce, this huge blue spruce that is right next to our house. And I'm telling you, this robin has some self-esteem issues, right? Like, every day it sees its own reflection in my nice, new, clean windows, and it just goes to war with itself. Like, it just starts pounding the windows, and it's just like bam, 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 like every day. And so I'm up in the morning, I'm contending with the Lord, and the robin's going at it, and I'm like, Robin, will you just take your issues to the Lord? Will you just cast all your anxieties upon Him? Right? Like, it drives me crazy. Like, on the days that I don't wake up at 5 a.m., it wakes me up. Like, I got to clean my windows 15 times a week because of its blood and spit everywhere. But here's the deal. The robin ain't going to take its anxieties to God. It's a bird. He's not seeking the Lord, and the Lord's not seeking that robin. And I'm sure the robin's great, even with all its self-esteem issues, but he's not going to seek God and find Him. Nor is the Lord interested in seeking the bird. That's been given to the sons and daughters of God. That gift has been given to you and me as image bearers of God. Humans seek the Lord. The Lord seeks humans. The Lord is not seeking horses or dogs, and we know, we are for sure, as the sun came up this morning, that the Lord is not seeking cats, right? The Lord is not concerned about that robin's salvation. That's not how this works. That you and I, because we were created in the image of God, that we hold a distinct and unique place when it comes to the deep depth of our relationship with God. We were created uniquely to be in unique relationship with God, but also because we're created in the image of God, that we have a unique relationship with creation itself. See, because we're made in the image of God, that you and I are commanded, that we've been given a duty in this passage to subdue the earth and to fill it. Now, very simply, that means that we are to bring order to it, that we have a responsibility over creation, that we are to be responsible tenants of this earth until God makes all things new. And here's the deal. That falls on humans and humans alone in the created order. When I was growing up in science class, we talked a lot about the dodo bird. Anybody remember talking about the dodo bird? All right, a few of you. Good. I was in Adams 12. Last service, there was 12 people who raised their hand, all right? So anyways, when it came to the dodo bird, I always had a lot of questions, like, God, why did you create the dodo bird? It can't fly, it doesn't run very fast, it's dumb. God, you just put it on the earth to go extinct. That's just kind of what it feels like, right? And I'm telling you that when it comes to the dodo bird, the apex predator loves the dodo bird like I love Chick-fil-A. It's an easy meal, right? And the apex predators loved the dodo bird right into extinction. Like, never did you have a predator go, you know what we should do? Is we should set up some space for this bird, because it can't figure out life on its own. And so we need to create some space where it can grow and multiply, because it's really important to the ecosystem. Like, if we don't do something, it's going to go extinct. No, they just ate that bird right to extinction, right? That only us as humans have been given the responsibility to live like that. There's the command to manage the creation. And that command hasn't been given to anything else in the creative order, that we are the caretakers of creation, those made in the image of God. It is the duty that God has given us. And so, as we look at this, we have this unique relationship with God. We have this unique relationship to the creative order. And then thirdly, we have this unique relationship with each other. When you read through the scriptures, like the entirety of the Bible, one of the things that you will notice is that there is a ton of weight put on human interaction that is not put on regular animal interaction. Let me give you a really good example of this. We find it in Genesis chapter 9, starting in verse 6. This is what Moses writes. He says, "Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For God made," here's our phrase, "man in his own image." So if one man kills another man, at least according to Genesis chapter 9, the man that is doing the killing is being held to a pretty high standard, isn't he? And the question is, why? Well, it's right here in the verse, in the last line. Because God has made him in his own image. Because man is made in the imago Dei. And again, that's a weight that's put on humans that's not put on anything else in the creative order. I mean, if out here on our land a hawk takes out a prairie dog, the cops aren't showing up and going, "Okay, guys, who started it?" Right? Put the cuffs on the hawk, lock him up. Like, that's not happening. Like, that's ridiculous to think about. Like lions aren't being thrown in jail because they're eating antelopes in Africa. Like, that's not how this works. That there's something greater. There's a greater value to humanity than anything else on this earth. And that's not to say that other living things have no value. It doesn't mean that other living things don't have value on this earth. I've already said that we're to care for creation, that we are not to be cruel, that we don't lord over creation in a way that's irresponsible. That would be contrary to the function and duty that we have as image bearers of God. But what it does mean, and please hear me on this is huge, is that the most debilitated human being out there, blind, deaf, mute, mentally broken, physically bedridden, is more valuable than the dog living in your house. If that statement shocks you, it means that you truly do not understand the significance of the image of God in your life and in humanity. And if that statement offends you, it means that you have bought into the lies of this culture. See, being created in the imago Dei means that there is an intuitive value given to every person who has ever lived on this earth, that humanity is not some cosmic accident. When it comes to the Christian worldview, like, this is the foundational truth that it's built on, that humanity is not a cosmic accident. We're not some random living nothing. We bear intrinsic dignity and purpose and worth derived from our Creator. And yet the sad reality is that image, though not completely lost, is certainly marred, isn't it? That humanity, because of sin, is now disfigured. And while we still have the divine imprint upon our lives, it is now clouded by rebellion and pride and brokenness. That sin has distorted our ability to reflect God's character. It's clouded our relationship with Him and with other people, and certainly with creation itself. And what was once pure and whole is now fractured like a shattered mirror that can no longer reflect the image clearly. I mean, come on. In light of that, is it any wonder why in our culture today we struggle with the question, who am I? Is it any wonder that we have such trouble when it comes to our identities? It's why the cross of Christ is so important. It's so significant. That the cross of Jesus is God's response to the fracture. That it is the ultimate affirmation of humanity's worth. That you have to see this, particularly if you're struggling with identity here today. What we have in the cross of Jesus both underscores the seriousness of our sin and our brokenness, and the infinite worth that humanity has when it comes to God. See, if God is the one who determines truth and reality in our lives, then the reality of our worth, of human life, is most vividly seen not just in the creation account of Genesis chapter 1, but also in our redemption in Revelation chapter 22. And if that's true, then the cross of Jesus is both a mirror for us and our rescue. That it shows the absolute depth and depravity and brokenness of humanity, and yet at the same time, the immeasurable value that God places on you. And in a culture that is desperately seeking the answer to who it is that I am, that's looking for identity everywhere, looking for meaning and purpose, the image of God revealed in creation and restored through the cross grounds humanity in an unspeakable truth. It is a beacon that shouts to every single one of us that our worth is not self-assigned. It's not in some label that someone places on us. It's not in some ability that we have, but rather that our worth is rooted in the eternal reality of God's design, going all the way back to Genesis chapter 1 and his love that we see so vividly in the cross. And so when Jesus comes on the scene, and he says to know the truth, to understand the truth, will ultimately set you free. This is what he is talking about. That when we start to rightly understand who it is that we are, what we were created to be, the significance that's placed on us because we are image bearers of God, that is the day that we can start living truly free in this world. And so if you're here today and you have never experienced that type of freedom, if you've never experienced freedom in God like that, we would love to have the conversation. We're going to put our text number back on the screen here. You can text the keyword Jesus to that number, 720-513-1933. Or if you're in house today, you can just stop by the wall that says Jesus at this point forward, and we'll have the conversation about your significance when it comes to God, how much you are loved and valued because of who you were created to be. I want to pray for you. Will you go ahead and bow your head as we pray together? Father, we gather on this Mother's Day, and maybe there isn't a more apt message on Mother's Day than to simply dwell upon and to think about the infinite worth that you have placed on us as humans. That from the very beginning that you created us with such value. That you stamped your image on us. And that image is not on anything else that we see in the created order. That we truly are special in your eyes, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Lord, I pray that that message sinks deep into our souls. Because the reality is, Lord, at some time or another, every single one of us, myself included, that we struggle with who we are. There's moments in our life where we struggle with purpose and meaning and value. And in those moments, Lord, I pray that you would bring us right back here. And that we would remember that because of your image, your likeness in us, that we have a unique relationship with you. That the people that we run into, they are of infinite value. And that we even have this unique role in creation. God, I pray that in the cross, we would see your depth of love for us, that while we were marred, that you just didn't leave us there. but you came to restore your image within us, to make it recognizable again. And for that, Lord, we are grateful. We give this to you. It's in Jesus' name that I pray.